Welcome to today's webinar by devtodev, which is a bit special, maybe not a bit.
Wow.
Wow. It is special, definitely now. Today we're going to dive into the key trends shaping games and analytics for 2025. And for that discussion, we've invited special guests. I'll just quickly say that the recording is on. We'll share it with everyone registered at the webinar. Also, you should see a pinned message with our speakers' contacts in case you have some questions after the discussion. In case you have questions during the discussion, please share them in the chat. And if we have time, we'll answer them in the end of the webinar. Okay, done with organizational questions now, and let's meet our speakers who are shaping the future of games and analytics. Start with Gustav Pastucha, Strategic Partnerships at Pixel Federation.
Hello, everybody.
Adam Smart, Global Director of Product Gaming at AppsFlyer.
Hello.
Vera Karpova, Product Owner at devtodev.
Hi.
And David Surgent, CEO at VIVUGA.
Hello.
And my name is Ala Titerenko, Marketing Lead at devtodev and moderator of today's discussion. And I'll do my best not to stay in the way of a conversation between our awesome speakers. And we'll try to keep an eye on the timing too. So let's kick off with a short intro maybe from our panelists and a small reflection on 2024. What were the most memorable moments for you or your company in 2024? This could be a product milestone or even an unexpected challenge.
Can I start?
Yes,
So,
of course.
Go for it.
So let me first introduce myself because I believe nobody knows about me. So we are growing indie-like company from Slovakia, focusing on mobile games on Android and iOS. To summarize 2024, for us it was like challenging year because in 23 we had some growth and the 24 was about like maintaining this, and like with a lot of changes and in a lot of changes in the industry, and we faced a lot of challenges. What we like learn is that we are extremely dependent, or the current market is extremely, for game developers, the current market is extremely dependent on two platforms. So you are like in hands of Google Play and on Apple. So we try to like find new opportunities this year, focusing on web platforms. We made partnerships with Crazy Games, attended the game jam, and like made the final stage with them. So we are cooperating right now with them to like make a hit game to be released next year. So yeah, this was like one shift that we are looking at. And also like we had a lot of like downs, like from Google Play ban, Facebook bans, Facebook issues, and this kind of stuff. So it was a lot of ups and downs. So yeah, but overall, like this year was like a lot of changes, and we prepared some foundation for growth next year, hopefully. So yeah, that's from my perspective.
nice.
Awesome.
I can continue then. So I will skip introduction because Ala already did it perfect. So regarding our company, probably you know that devtodev is developing a tool for analysis, and I will be responsible for trends in that analysis today, if you don't mind, because my colleagues are great experts in game industry. So regarding our company, we recently migrated our infrastructure to AWS, and I guess that this is one of the key trends from the previous year, and it still remains very important, is the data protection, data privacy. So for us, this migration is a huge step towards security, and it also allows us to scale more efficiently and focus on different innovations and great features, while AWS handles the security of our our data. That's why this was maybe some most important event and event for us this year. And we try to stay on, follow the trends. Probably we will discuss them a little bit later, and this trend, we catch it, follow it also.
Okay, who wants to continue?
Adam.
Thanks, Vera.
I'll go. So I guess I've got two different hats here. I'm AppsFlyer, but I'm also sort of industry analysis as well. So I guess in terms of industry analysis, my highlight for the year is it's got to be Mana Lords. Like, in terms of games that have been released this year, it's one of the most incredible stories of a single dev releasing a game onto Steam with probably, I think it's somewhere around, I don't know if it's broken a record, but it was somewhere around the most wishlist ads that Steam has ever had for a title. Went on to release, and it was hugely successful with one dev built the entire thing from a dream, from a vision, which is incredible in this day and age. I think also seeing a lot more things, a lot more crossplay, like David was saying earlier. I think people are starting to look at different platforms, different avenues to fit in alongside iOS and Android. So I'm starting to see a lot more on Steam, a lot more on web, and really sort of anything where you can cross-play as well. So, the likes of, we've seen ZZZ from Hoyoverse released this year, which is doing exceptionally well. Star Wars Hunters from Zynga did exceptionally well as well. So I think some of the titles that we're seeing on the cross players are starting to work incredibly well. On a personal note, I think one of the highlights was definitely Gamescom, because Gustav and I got to do a panel together there.
That was definitely your highlight for sure.
Do you see what I did there? Nice linkage.
Very smooth. Yeah, and while talking about Gamescom, let me go back to crossplay. One of the two highlights of 2024 for us was, I will share two. By the way, Pixel Federation is Slovak game, mostly mobile game developer, and from that particular company. But so what we did this year, we always wanted to be able to kill a game like soon enough, and we accomplished that. Not that we tried to kill it, but we were able to say like pretty fast.
I was going to say, was that the goal?
No, but we always wanted to have that capacity to do it. And we kind of proven that we can do it, which is a remarkable achievement. But on the other side of things, once mentioning crossplay, in September we launched our Train Station 2, which is our flagship title right now, on a browser, because of the reasons that were mentioned before, and also because of certain affinity of that particular audience to play on a computers. So that's something we see happening this year quite a bit, and I see that also for the future where we will be going to the trends. So yeah, highlights are toast, I guess. And also, well, last but not least, we just soft launched our new title, Translation Free. So if you happen to be from those lucky countries, you can play it. I'm not gonna name them. I don't know them.
That's really nice. You've just got to go to the App Store and have a look, have you?
No.
Okay, thanks everyone. Let's unpack the trends of 2024, the passing year. What worked really well, what didn't quite live up to the hype, were there any surprises in the analytics or game development trends?
I'm gonna still show for a while. Not for a while, but okay. So for me, what didn't really work is I don't want to name any companies, but stream companies like Netflix's or these kind of companies, they always try to do something in the gaming. And I am personally a strong believer in that. Like, it should work. So far, it doesn't seem to be working that great. One of the trends, if you can call it a trend, IPs seems to be something which works. But I guess we will be talking a little bit more about the multi-platform or crossplay. That is a trend which is here to stay, I believe.
I'd actually argue with Netflix that I saw something recently that said that they'd surpassed Apple Arcade, which, all right, that's a smaller milestone, but in terms of a subscription service, Apple Arcade has a walled garden on that, a captive audience, if you like, with Apple One. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's interesting that it has managed to surpass that by itself.
Yes, but again, talking about benchmarks, right? Like, if you will always be able to find a benchmark which you will be able to surpass. This is no knock on Apple Arcade, but I guess Netflix probably wanted to do, and other companies like that wanted to do better, I guess.
I'd love to see how GTA, the earlier GTAs have done on Netflix as well, because I think that's an interesting. You said about IP. I think IP is an interesting addition into the fold there, and they've got quite a few new titles coming through next year from what I've seen already. So it could be an interesting year for them.
Again, I'm a firm believer in that. Like, I don't see how does it not work that much, and so it's more of a disappointment to me than I predict that not to work.
Cool. I can jump in. I can jump in with one. So, I think 2024 for me was the year that everybody kind of got to grips with Scan. For anyone who doesn't know, for anyone who isn't in the mobile marketing world, Scan is Apple's sort of privacy framework, which stopped user level data coming through to the studios. And I think it's kind of opened the door for multiple different routes through that. But I think 2024 was the year that marketers finally got on top of it and were able to operate either with it or around it incredibly well.
Yeah, and we will see like in 2025 or the Google implementation of that. Everybody's waiting for it, right? So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, for me, like from mobile games perspective, I see a lot of like decline from hyper casual games. They are like not good at all, and we see with a lot of like big publishers switch to hybrid model, hybrid casuals, and focusing more on like IAPs or hybrid monetization. So there are some like a lot of subscriptions, IAP focus, and also the ads revenue. So this is like from monetization side, or to get more like focus on more quality of the users and not the quantity. This will be also, I believe, trend for next year because of like rising UA costs. I believe studios will be more focused and using like connecting more with influencers. There is still like potential to use influencers in UA. On TikTok, we see a lot of like UGC content creatives and this kind of stuff, and this what I believe will be like we see more of that. And also like 2024 was in terms of production, there was a lot of AI implementation and like this stuff. So yeah.
I'll continue the AI topic if you touch it, because from point of view of data analysis, I also noticed that expansion of AI start making an impact on game or data analysis. For example, a recent update of AI tools, such as you can upload some images, charts, or Excel sheets to the ChatGPT and ask it for assistance for interpretation of these charts. It goes together with another trend that data analysis became more advanced, and such simple tasks like ordinary interpretation of the chart can be delegated to the machine. And the data analysts now, they should focus more on complex things when you need to be in a context, when you need to know more about the product, about the company. Maybe for AI, it's not solvable task yet. And as a result, it also gives like a second life of no-code and low-code tools. Again, despite it was just drag and drop tools like for example, it can be devtodev or Power BI, where you can create a report. Before and even now, you need to know what is the data structure behind this tool, what exactly you need to drag and drop to build the report. And AI start helping with this task as well. So a lot of companies, they implement AI and you can just type your query in the native language and get a report. But still, it's not a perfect tool now. I expect it like a trend of next year that it will be even more intelligence, and because now you still need to check after AI creates some report, and you still need to know what data you operate with. But still, this is a trend, and this is a step that AI made into data analysis field. This is this trend I see, and it's also started previous year, and I guess it will be developed in the next year. And the data quality, as I talked before, data quality, we still need to integrate some frameworks to protect data, to make it more accurate, consistent. So it still remains as a very important trend in data analysis and data management field.
It's still early days with it as well, which is the amazing thing. So sort of in a year's time, where it's going to be is just phenomenal.
Yeah, if you look back to start of 2024, and now it was like huge progression with AI, and I can't imagine what will be like next year.
Well, I mean, I remember for generative AI, we were saying this time last year about it. Hopefully, it's going to be able to do video. And then this year has just been a wash with video. It's been phenomenal. Like you can create pretty much anything just from a text prompt.
Yeah, but I'm personally very happy that it finally starts to go more into data analysis, because I feel like it started on a creative side, like the whole AI, which is weird for me because I would expect actually analytics be where it's forte, right? Because that's where machines are certainly better than people. So I'm very happy that it's already happening more in data AI, because that's exactly what I would expect the AI to do for me, to analyze all my data, sit above all the data we had a company and find opportunities for me. So I'm happy that it's happening to a certain extent.
Yeah, definitely. And we're just slowly we're sliding into our next question, which is AI's impact and how it is reshaping the industry. But I guess we touched it a little bit. So how do you see, actually, like I heard someone mentioning that, okay, we cannot imagine where it's going to be next year by the end of the year, but actually, how do you see it will impact the industry in 2025? And how are you already incorporating it into your work, if you haven't mentioned it yet?
Like from developer perspective, like the AI is here and you have to use it, because if not, like everybody's using. So if you are not using it, you are like losing against the others. So yeah, it's like great tool if used like.
But is it? I think a lot of it depends whether it's accepted by your user base, right? Because we've sort of seen with Ubisoft announcing that they're going to start using it, and the whole uproar against, from the fans, from the players against the usage of it.
I'm just saying from developer perspective. So to like implement AI to the internal processes to be faster, to be like more effective.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, if you look at from our like point of view, the marketing is like over 50% like AI stuff, and it's working. Like there are A/B tests and stuff. The graphic design, it's like some of the models are now in that state that you cannot like see if this is AI generated or made. So it's improving, but there is also like you have to have a like user input. So it's like 60% you get from AI and then 40% from the graphic designer. I believe that if AI gets better and better, this will be like less manual input. But I don't believe that AI will replace all the positions because we will be in the cycle of some AI generated stuff. There should be like creativity from the users involved in that. And yeah, also the code is like the GitHub Copilot or other stuff. They are very good at coding and can help with a lot of stuff, and to be like more to do faster prototypes and test the things out. Yeah, so it's been, and I for next year I will see like more implementation of that and to be more effective.
It's a tool, right? Like that's the thing. Like how can you hate on tool? I feel like you have to use it. It's a shitty tool, right? So you are stupid not to use it, I would say. And it also depends how you use it, of course. So I agree that. But what we also see is that in that year of time where like AI is among us maybe 2 years or whatever, I mean, really, I feel like people are already getting fed of that a little, right? Like you don't even read those perfect emails anymore or something like that. Like you feel like people are again kind of wanted to have the human touch. Like I see people doing typos, really for that not to be considered AI. So
yeah, but some guys talking about the email, some guys are too lazy and they just copy paste the email, and you at first sight you see that that is like AI generated. Yeah, I don't like that because it's lazy work, but you can train some models to do like more personal touch to that, and this would be like future, I believe.
It's going to go full circle, and you'll be able to train AI to put in spelling mistakes to make it not look like AI.
Exactly.
Go for it. Sorry.
I agree with David and Gustav that AI can't now replace the people, but still it's developing very quickly. And I think still that there is a room for improvement. As I mentioned before, you need to check after the AI, you need to check it work. And there are still some more complex tasks for companies which can be solved, like, for example, LTV prediction. Many companies struggling with that still, and AI can solve it. That's why I expect and wish it a lot that next year we will be closer to the more accurate models, better predictions. This is like a great wish for next year to AI.
It's funny.
Yeah,
At one of the many conferences that I was at this year, someone, and I can't remember who, and it wasn't Gustav this time, said to me that the AI can make you a junior at any job now. Like you can get in entry level on pretty much any job, but you still have to have that experience and the understanding of what you're doing to be able to go further than be a junior just by using AI, which I thought was a brilliant way of thinking about it.
Yeah, that wasn't me for sure. Brilliant, I would say.
See, I told you.
Yeah, it's definitely reduced time for some actions, and you can even just get some ideas talking with AI, and you can just implement it, develop it, but still get some points that you can find yourself.
I would say not to use it in ideation. It's almost blasphemy. It's like in the process.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else on AI? Because it's like it's a central part of our lives and has been for the past few years as well.
Yeah. So our like current experience was we attended the game jam, and like we had the team set up, and it was like a lot of AI. Like AI can help a lot with ideation and this kind of stuff. Some ideas are like way off. You have to filter through that, but you can like push the AI the way you want, and it's like helping your brain to release and like a lot of ideas, a lot of good ideas can go from AI, and if you put that together, you can make a good product eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone's trying to implement it in some way, shape, or form. Even at AppsFlyer, we're going through trying to create new products that can utilize the time-saving abilities through it and that sort of stuff all over the place. And I think it will grow more and more next year. It's just in which way.
Yeah, and if you just one last question, if you see that with new hardware on mobile, like if there will be like AI models implemented into like mobile devices, and if they somehow open this model to developers to use them, so we can like use AI directly into your games and models, there will be like big change for that, like in terms of games.
Okay, just while we're on the topic, just throwing it out there, maybe there's an area where AI could surprise us next year. Just any guesses? Or it's going to be...
Probably we are waiting for AGI. This is very interesting what it gives us. And as Malman promised, some releases next year. So let's see how it will solve our tasks.
All our problems.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move to the next question, and let's talk about monetization. With the rising user acquisition cost, how can developers optimize while keeping players happy? And maybe there are any bold monetization experiments or strategies you think will emerge in 2025?
I can jump in there.
Please do.
I mean, David quite rightly mentioned hyper casual earlier, and I think that's the sort of ultimate example of how this has progressed. You know, through Scan, hyper casual was affected massively, and they've had to adapt. Although it's interesting actually when you look at the data surrounding it. It's any of the larger established companies are still able to operate as hyper casuals, you know, purely IAA, and then anyone new trying to get into the market as strictly IAA is having problems. So I think it's interesting. And also we sort of talk a lot about this hybrid model coming across, and it's almost talked about in a way that IAA only apps, so in-app advertising apps, are just stuffing in purchases in order to make the extra revenue. And of course, that's not the case. It's actually redesigning an entire game or building a game from scratch, because you have to encompass the game economy to be able to accommodate a different revenue model. And it's not as simple as literally just throwing in purchases to a game.
Yep. It's not easy or other way around either, right? Like to change design of that, it's that particular split is super difficult to change.
I'd argue the other way is semi-easier, because you could segment the audience quite nicely and be able to say anyone who has never made a purchase, for instance, you're going to start showing ads to as a form of revenue to try and monetize those players. So I think there is a slightly easier way that side, but you know,
for a big part of the players, anyways.
Yeah. And I'm starting to think next year we'll see it go sort of a few steps further as well, because now we do have hybrid. You're going to see people doing user acquisition campaigns for both monetizing players and ad watching players. That's easy for me to say. So you're going to end up having these two different types of user acquisition campaigns that are going through. Now, I think what we're going to start to see is different game mechanics more and more based on the different user acquisition campaigns that you're running. So based on if you're looking for ad watchers or ad whales, you're going to be showing certain types of ads, and they're going to be, when they come into the game, you're going to have a slightly easier curve in the game mechanic in order to be able to accommodate and retain those users for a longer period of time.
Yeah, that personalization, like that's something which is also somehow connected to the AI topic we had. That just has to happen. That one size fits all just not going to happen anymore. I feel like it's just won't do anymore. But one thing I felt like addressing in the whole game about the hyper casual is like, good old days China used to copy things from West, I would say, but now the massive success of mini games there, I feel like it will be copied in the Western market, which will bring the hyper casual games eventually. I don't know if it's 25 already, but that will change the whole game a lot, because those games which will be on the Telegrams or wherever, like I know that these kind of platforms are trying to do something like that. They will be super simple, and that will be again like
WeChat have had games for a long time, right? And they've had them monetizing and everything for a long period of time. So I think now with I think TikTok have just announced they're doing monetization in games on the platform, and Facebook tried it a while ago as well, but it didn't seem to take off. The sort of instant games from Facebook.
Yeah, but the whole thing which is making the games a little bit more complex than they were, like the hybrid casualization or whatever you want to call it, might be turning around. Like, yes, you will be trying to make games. So,
well, now there's more of a reason to try a different platform other than iOS and Android, and I think that's where this is the sort of right place, right time.
That's probably one of the biggest trends, I feel like, because that moment is already moving, right? I feel like everybody, like, couple years ago, the web stores or whatever, like these kind of things were super taboo. No one even talked about it. But right now, like everybody knows that there are chances to And the alternative stores I wanted to address a little bit. It's a big topic. It will be a big topic in mobile games, for sure.
I think it feels to me that everyone's sort of paused and waiting for one case to actually work, to actually take off, and then I think everybody will snowball on it. The one thing that I am seeing is a lot more out of store payments. I think Roblox quite famously just announced that they're giving a 25% bonus to anybody purchasing on the web now, which is like, that was unheard of before. So that's going to be really interesting to see Apple's reaction to that, and what happens in the future with that kind of thing. Because if from Apple's perspective, if they let one go, there's going to be a snowball effect of that kind of thing happening more and more, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah, but it's a little bit different game, because you probably won't be able to play that card like, okay, we're gonna ban you if you do it or something like that. It might be too late for that, I feel like.
I mean,
wishful thinking.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest games on the planet. I mean,
True.
Okay, Vera, David, any perspective on monetization trends?
When I was listening to those two guys, they stole all my stuff that I wanted to say. So yeah, I totally agree with Gustav and Adam. So yeah, nothing to add.
I think one prediction for next year, you asked about AI predictions. One prediction that I have for next year is personalized offers. I think AI will come into that, like Gustav was saying earlier, AI will come into that more and more, and we'll start seeing pricing points which are purely tailored to you within the game. So they could be completely different if you're 4 different people playing the game. But they'll be completely tailored to you and really sort of exactly what you were thinking you wanted to buy at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just this is totally true, but it's not just pricing. It also can be content too.
Yeah,
the game difficulty of the game will be adjusted to you. So I believe the personalization also with use of AI, it will be some of the trends for next year.
And mini games, like what to show, when, the difficulty, everything. Yeah.
Okay, and moving on to the next question. Outside of AI and monetization, maybe there are any new tools, techniques, or trends that could define the coming year? Well, we know that predicting trends is a bit like guessing, but still, let's do our best.
I can do this one. Steam. I'm so bullish on Steam at the moment. It's ridiculous. Now that they've announced that they're opening up the OS to other hardware, I think there's going to be a huge amount of devices that come out next year that are all running Steam OS. The platform has grown by about 10 million users this year, something like that, on a daily DAU kind of thing. It's growing rapidly. And I think there's been reports of Lenovo now developing a device that's going to run on Steam OS. Steam themselves are developing multiple devices, one of which is a TV connected device, which is potentially going to challenge the likes of PlayStation and Xbox, which is super interesting. I can't wait to see what that is going to look like, because obviously you have your digital library within Steam, and you would be able to play it on any of those consoles, and the Steam Deck and the TV console and everything else, or your computer. So it's going to be, I think they have an immense opportunity to challenge the entire games industry next year.
Okay, thanks. Next.
From data perspective, I can share some thoughts about the non-AI connected trends. I noticed that I don't notice, it's a fact that more and more companies rely on data when making decisions. And now I notice that companies are thinking about data unification. When different departments, they use the same data across the whole company, because previously a lot of companies, a lot of departments, they work separately with their own data sets. And this caused some problems for for general overview and understanding the performance of the products. So I noticed such trends that companies try to break these data silos between different departments and unify somehow the metrics for the company. So probably it will also make some trend next year, and it will be developing more and more because there is the issue and there is a problem for some companies. That's why I guess it can be solved quite not easily, but it can be solved definitely even without AI.
Data silos is one of my favorite topics.
Yes, by the way.
David, Gustav?
Gustav, can you?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so for me, again, as mentioned, the crossplay, big thing, alternative stores, and the very personalization we just mentioned, I believe that it will be opening somewhat also new markets for some games, because which were notoriously done for some markets because of the ad revenues, revenues split might be a little bit more solvable in different countries. So, and again, like it's those tier one markets are super saturated. So I feel like developers will be looking at other opportunities. So yeah, I have no opinion on Steam. I feel like I feel like there's still certain stigma about it, like being for gamers. I don't know how they fight that. I feel like addressing at them, confronting at them.
It's true. There is an element of snobbery in terms of the difference between PC and console and mobile, but I think it's diminishing more now. I think it's starting to see, certainly with like Hoyoverse has been one of the first entries into that is recognized as being a good game across mobile and PC and console, and it's pretty much the same on whichever device you play it on. So I do think it's changing slowly. But yeah, you're right. It's been hard. It's been much harder to enter, and the reviews can be punishing. That's for sure.
Yeah, for me, like I'm looking forward to GTA 6 release. I believe it will be like next year this time. They usually like set the trends for like further for other companies and this kind of stuff. So we'll see how this will like what would happen after that. And also, I agree with Gustav. Like the personalization in products will be like a main topic for next year, and also diversification for publishing. There are like, I believe Telegram is launching their store, and the other like other platforms are trying to like hop on the trend, and this like opens more opportunities for us as developers. So we'll see how that goes, but it's like a good thing to like not be dependent on like two major platforms. And eventually, if the platforms will see that they are not as huge and developers are looking for other like ways, they will have to adjust and maybe like do better for us as a developer. So we'll see.
Actually, one other area that I am seeing more of is like studios setting up specifically to develop for Roblox or Fortnite. Now that they've opened up to their own economies basically and their own ecosystems, I'm starting to see more and more of that growth and the companies that are developing games to specifically monetize through Roblox and Fortnite.
Okay.
It's another interesting area.
That's something which will be saturated probably quicker than bigger markets that were saturated, right? So
it depends.
Certainly opportunity for sure.
It depends on how good they are, how good the sort of internal stores or internal visibility is, to be honest.
Okay.
Okay, looks like we're done with the trends and we have a few minutes left. Well, not done, you can never be done with trends. We have a few minutes left for the audience questions. And if you have something to ask, you can drop it in the chat. And I see there is a question already. What's one trend you wish more people in the industry would pay attention to in 2025? If you had to pick one, only one.
I would choose our US favorite about data unification. because it seems it doesn't require AI. It's just like you need to decide and do it. So it can be quite simply solved.
Okay, thank you, Vera. Twice.
I think
Go on. Go.
you can go if you want. Go on.
No.
I think for me it's like what I want to say, build better games, but you know, I think one of the problems that we see is companies building a game because they want to monetize, as opposed to companies building a game because they want to build a game that's going to be entertaining to play, that's going to be fun, that people actually want. And I think that's why we see a lot of games failing, and you know, across the board. We had Concord recently for a massive example. You know, I think it's very easy to say build better games, but I think passion projects, you know, you sort of, I opened with Mana Lords, for instance, and I think the passion has been missing from certainly some of the gaming areas, and I think yeah, indie games are our future. Exactly, that's exactly it.
Well, I kind of agree with that, and what I feel like this might necessarily be a trend, but what I'm kind of curious lately about is the whole community management, basically the contact with players. Like the better, you know, relationship with players, I feel like would be helpful for pretty much everybody involved. So I wish we talk more about that.
I think communities as a whole, like regardless, like VIP management or customer management or the entire community, I think they're very, very powerful now. I've seen a couple of companies starting who were, the guys were influencers to begin with, so they already have a very large following, and they're building a game like almost on air kind of thing, which is you know, it's almost unheard of. You would build a product before, and then you would try and take it to market, whereas this is building it with the market, which is quite incredible, really. And I think we will start to see more and more of that sort of influencer attachment to the entire process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with Adam that like indie games are like good to like hobby projects, or not hobby projects, but the love and innovation in the games to build a better quality games would be good. But eventually, at the end, it's a business, and like companies are like prioritizing revenues before quality, and this is where we are now. So we'll see how that, like, yeah, you have like some like you mentioned Mana Lords or something, but it's like 1% of those, a lot of those indie games. So yeah.
But I think someone's just mentioned Bellatro, which is an obvious pick. But I think it's kind of, it's funny, when I was at Gamescom this year, it sort of occurred to me that the indies are very much like indie movies. You know, it's very comparable to Hollywood in the fact that you have like Oscars movies, which are very artistic and they push the boundaries forward and everything. And then you've got the Hollywood blockbusters, which are there to make the money. You know, that's where the industry keeps turning over. And I think it's very similar. You know, the indies that we have keep pushing forward what is possible within gaming and the new areas of development. And then you have the Hollywood blockbusters that come along and just sort of churn the money. But they can't live without each other. You know, there has to be this equilibrium there in order to be able to deliver everything. And I think that's what we've been missing for a little while.
Yeah, that's a great question for that. Okay, do we have time for one more question? Yeah, we still do. What were the best in-game mechanics for last year from your perspective in free-to-play?
Does it have to be new? Something which was added last year?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess in general, good advice is to have battle pass of some sort. If you don't have it, then
I mean, Gotcha's done incredibly well. Like any champion collection, anything like that seems to work incredibly well. If you can create a compelling enough case for somebody to want to buy a skin, the skins are an incredibly good way of monetization. But there has to be that driver there in order to to motivate to somebody to want to buy the skin in the first place. And I think that's what some don't get, and then you sort of have the store that's available with all of these skins, but there's no purpose to them or no reason for somebody to want one over another one. So it's that kind of motivation part that is missing for a lot.
Yeah, I wouldn't focus like on best mechanics, because like you have a lot of mechanics, but the execution of like those mechanics is the crucial. So I don't have like the preferred like, mechanic that is like.
This is so diplomatic one answer.
Yeah, I'm not.
I like them all.
I'm the only game I'm playing is the top 11. It's like 30 years for me. It's like football manager game.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm playing. It's so repetitive after 3 years, but still somehow they can hook me. Yeah, so this is like good mechanic from me personally.
So basically, the summary is to build better games with the best mechanics. Like
exactly.
All
of them.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I guess we don't have any other questions just yet. So we can just start to wrap up. And thank you, everyone. Thanks to all our panelists for your insights today. It's clear that 2025 is going to be an exciting year. And thank you again, everyone, for joining us. The recording will be soon available, and we'll just follow up with it in the email. And yeah, see you soon, and have a nice day.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Going out with a blast.